Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Greubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists. It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hi guys, it's Stacy Barnett from Canine Detection Collaborative, and I am here with my two glorious co-hosts, Crystal Wing.
Hi, friends.
And Robin Greubel.
Hello.
And we are going to do a reflection episode because we just recorded an episode with Joe Lawrence, and oh my gosh, I'm sitting here and I don't do hunt tests, right? And I'm listening and I'm like, I need to learn that. I need to learn with my dogs. And I personally, because I was sitting there, I was listening, because the way we do this is we usually have, two of us interviewing one person, and then the third person listens in. That way we're not like kind of glomming on our poor guests and like overwhelming our guests. We do it that way. So I was there kind of like lurking, right? And I'm listening. And I was just like, this is great. I'm typing questions and everything. So we're going to talk a little bit about just some of our reflections from that. And, I just want to kind of open with, I'm just honestly really kind of excited about just kind of digging into some of these topics. I checked out, Joe's online classes and everything, and there's some really cool stuff there. And I love the kind of progression to it. So, but it was really fascinating. And then the discussion, particularly about the application of all of those skills to any dog that we're working in any kind of searching or sport or working capability. So I don't know. I mean, you guys got to talk to her live. I'm kind of jealous.
Hopefully she comes back.
Yeah, seriously.
Right? I mean, I did kind of, I was a little bit ornery that I kind of put her on the spot right there in the middle. Oops. I was like, yeah, it's all about promoting your book. Yeah, that's really what it all is.
Right. When's it ready, by the way?
Sure, it is. Right.
So when is that book ready?
So I do want to promote everything about her as probably I might have gushed a little too hardcore. I think I scared her a little. I don't know if she's used to fangirls. I was like, can I be the president of your fan club?
Yeah, I know, me too. I was like, oh my gosh. Because when I first started thinking about, oh my gosh, I think I want to do this hunt test thing.
Yeah.
Right. This is about, I literally, based on Crystal's recommendation, went out and bought her book. And I love the little stick figures in it. Mm-hmm. And what was really funny is I'm like, oh, I can see myself being that little stick figure sitting in a chair teaching this thing.
Wow.
Yes. And it's a lovely, she was talking about one of the harder things with the second book that she's doing is, doing all of the illustrations. And the illustrations are very well thought out. The cookbook she was talking about, it's really close to a cookbook, but then the descriptions on what she's like, you have to take all of this other stuff into consideration, which a lot of sometimes when you're looking for a cookbook, you're like, I don't care how the ingredients go together. I just want to make the kitchen explode. Yeah, right.
I don't know what cookbook I know you do bomb dogs, but
but I was like, oh my gosh, it was very thoughtfully laid out.
Yeah.
And as I've now started to do the hunt test stuff that I'm working with the dogs on, I really appreciated the fact that, especially I listened to her most recent podcast when she was talking about the T drill and the concept of prerequisite behaviors.
Yeah.
In order to do X activity, you need these prerequisite behaviors. which makes my glorious little happy type A brain like
organization. Robin is like queen of the progression plan. So.
Yes. And so I was like,
we're going to give you a little crown. It's going to say progression plan
queen. Right.
We may have to get one of those Burger King crowns because I don't know if we'll be able to find anything else.
Well,
that's okay.
We talked earlier, and I think I'm going to make a whole series of badges.
Yes.
The progression plan sheriff.
Yeah.
Yes. That's going to be, that's it.
So I just want to say that I love that whole concept and the fact that when you go look at her academy and how she's got it put together, those foundation skills, it doesn't matter if I've got a search and rescue dog. It doesn't matter if I'm doing hunt tests. It doesn't matter if I've just got a pet dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
They all apply.
Yeah. And I'm kind of dealing with this whole, I've got like a huge bundle of energy trying to get to the start line right now. And when I went and I worked with Tazzy Winkler, and she was asking me about walking and controlled, and I'm like, I need to do better at training my dogs. So we had that discussion. I'm like, well, I just need to train better. And so I've got a little bit of a lens on that of like, my unruly out of control dog's hauling me to wherever we're training. Maybe not what I want to be doing. So listening to Joe on the podcast, right? I was sitting there going, okay, it's a little bit of structure that actually might be able to help me a little bit. Because we get so wrapped up in, what, like training the things that we are used to training, and the things that we don't necessarily prioritize or haven't prioritized in the past can bite us in the butt. So most, my nose work dogs in the past and the dogs that I had in the past were not like the dogs I have now. And there's not a lot of dogs like the dogs I have right now. There's a handle on the harness for a reason. So, it's, you get into, you train doing the way you've always done it. And sometimes the way you've always done it doesn't meet the needs of what you need to do now.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I have my older dogs, right? Dash, who's 6. So in my world right now, he's my older dog for my detection dogs, versus my young dogs, Flash, who is the youngest at 18 weeks at the time of us recording this. And the amount of time I now spend on sitting at heel, walking nicely everywhere on a leash, with her as a very, very young puppy, is infinite amount of times than I ever spent doing it with Dash. And that was 6 years ago. And so it's that one of those things where we really, you evolve as a trainer.
We do. And sometimes, even the types of dogs that we get kind of evolve. It's just, when I got Brava, man, I thought I knew what a high drive dog was. And then I got our half sister, and I'm like, oh, so I didn't know it could get worse than that. It can. So yeah, I was really excited just listening, and when I, went out to Joe's website and seeing kind of like how our courses kind of progress, I loved how she laid that out, where it was, you could that clear connection, like you kind of focus on these skills first, and then these are kind of the intermediate, and these are kind of the more advanced skills. So it's really laid out really well.
Yeah. And yes, Crystal, I can see that you're like busting to say something.
Go for it.
I'm listening.
Bust away.
So you talked a lot about the session structure kind of stuff is what I was hearing. a while back. But I loved how she said it was about looking at what your dog needs.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think what you brought into it as well is it's looking at what the human needs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's the part that's so important for us, because a lot of us have working dogs that maybe have terrible obedience manners, and we have to decide what we want to put our energy into because we only have so much.
Right.
And
right.
I like how Robin's talking about as her young dog, she's putting the energy now into having that heel work so that it's going to pay dividends in the end. And that's a lot of what Joe talks about, is creating all those expectations and those habits in the very beginning so that you don't have conflict later. Because as we know, we talked about a lot in like distraction camp, and we talked about how the conflict of walking to the site. And if it's constant, like, oh, I'm frustrated and the dog's frustrated, and now we're both starting the thing frustrated, or, like Robin and I talking about Nico with the out, and, so then it creates this frustration moving into the next cycle.
Right.
Those are all those things. And something we talked about off air, I believe, was kind of how you have some of those dogs that just make it so easy. Like my Prince Charles, he didn't like to pull on the leash. So why would you do that? That's just, that is not civilized.
That is rude.
You don't.
That
do
was
that.
Talon.
Yeah.
Talon would do the same. He's like, I would just have to look at him with a raised eyebrow, and he's like, got it.
Yeah. Charles just knew everything. I felt like he just, he was like, no, why would I pull on a leash? That's silly business. And then I have the 3 that I have now, pointy ears, and then want to be pointy. And they're like, we got to get there fast. I like to choke. Did you know I don't like to breathe? I prefer when my collar is up in my ears. like, oh, dude, guys. So
Brava's like front legs optional. She's
yeah.
just,
the dogs that don't let it come easy. Well, okay. So now I have to pre-mac it, and I have to be more thoughtful and not allow that and have those expectations lined out. So I think that's the recognition of session structure is about looking at what your dog needs. And I like how she said, I like to look at what their strengths and weaknesses are. And so all that goes back to relationship. And in all of her podcasts and her discussions, her relationship is so much based on observation of really getting to know the dog. And it seems like she does that a lot through her reinforcements.
Yes.
And she gets to figure out, what makes this dog tick. And I think that's pretty much universal with most of the force-free people. It's like, that's our only thing to work with is the reinforcement. Like, if we're not good at that, then, so if you're wanting to go any sort of force-free way, your best place to start is with the reinforcement. What makes your dog tick? What do they love? And going along with that, what did she call distractions?
Environmental reinforcers.
Right?
Yeah, it was a really cool way of thinking about it.
Everything around our dogs can be reinforcing. So I love that all of her training is so real life.
Yeah.
And I think for some reason, I think a lot of people, when I take classes or workshops or things, I feel like, this is all great. I can do all this in my living room and I can really get somewhere. Yeah. But I never really learned that next step from a lot of the places of, okay, well, now I want to go outside and do this. Yep. Okay, well, have fun. No, like, don't leave me hanging. It's like, in a lot of my circles, there are very few of us that do the kind of motivational, what are you going to call it? Bitey stuff. And so they're like, here's step 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. And this is how it works. And it's like, if I just do that, it's not working. And you can't leave out the 2 steps of the, of whatever it is that you're doing. And so that's where, can you take it on the road and how do you do that? And I love how she breaks that down. And I primarily know her from the podcast. I listened to most of the episodes. There's a few. It's just, I've taken so much just from that aspect. But it's about how do you use the environment as reinforcement and looking at your entire world differently. And it becomes about being a keen observer of your dog. What do they like? Watch what they like. And if you can use it, take advantage of it. If they want to play with that stick, okay, then there's your reinforcement. So earn it through you. Yeah.
That was one of, actually, it was really funny because I could hear her in my head as I was working with a client today. And a bird flew by and the dog went, "Whoa." And I'm like, and it provided us a different conversation to have around finding the environment reinforcing.
Yes.
Environmental reinforcers, and versus, oh, that's a distraction.
Right.
How do you work through or on the other side of that? And then you start realizing how much we actually ask of our dogs when we're running around a farm with 25 active chickens, 3 screaming Nubian goats, and barn swallows, and, all sorts of things, to concentrate on what we want them to do, the dumb game that we want them to play.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all competing reinforcers, right?
Yes.
The fun thing was I chatted with your training buddy there from today.
Yes.
And she was like, "What's 9?" And it was just the concept that I got from the last seminar about, she just gave it a name, so I called it 9, but it's just a matter of, you want your dog in the right arousal state, the right motivation state in order to do the job you're asking them to do.
Yep.
And it means that maybe that training session is figuring out how you can get that environmental or that arousal state, that interest, that motivation in that environment. Yep. Even though you may have your odor set out, that doesn't mean that that's what you actually need to train that day. So don't force your dog or yourself to meet some expectation that you're going to run this problem if you don't have the first step. And the first step is, you set it up. What are your expectations? My first step is, can I get from my vehicle to the search area without chaos? And then once I'm in that area, can I have you in this prepared state of mind that you can have the focus to do the job? Yeah. And if you can't, then my training plan just changed. So now my training plan is, I'm either going to put you back in the vehicle so that I can get my brain together, not as a punishment to the dog, but simply, okay, that's not how I planned.
This is mommy needs a moment. I need a moment.
I need to think about what's going on that just caused my dog to not be able to do what I thought they could do, because I wouldn't have set a problem up if I thought they were going to fail. Because I'm not going to ask my dog to answer questions, I think is how the attorney said it.
Right.
So I'm not going to ask questions that I don't know the answer to. And I'm not going to ask questions that I know that I'm going to get the answer I don't want. So knowing those things, I might need to put my dog up, or I might need to go, okay, I know how to work on this right now. And I will not go run that odor problem until I have my dog where I want them. So sometimes we got to change it.
Having that right arousal state. And I think I was actually talking to a student of mine and talking about arousal, because I think sometimes, depending upon the dog's natural drive levels, and when we want to try to get a little bit more engagement and a little bit more, like if you have a dog that's a little bit more moderate or lower drive, people have a tendency to kind of like jazz them up too much, because I see that is the reverse. So part of it is bringing the dog down if you've got a dog that's already kind of a little high. But then we have a whole lot of dogs like in nose work that are just a little bit on the low side, right? And we're trying to bring them up. And I see a lot of people try to add energy, and it turns out into, I kind of picture like sparklers. You ever have sparklers when you were a kid, right?
Wait, do you have to be a kid to have them?
I'm sorry. Well,
I mean, I still have them as an adult.
So I kind of picture that as like when you have unused or not usable, can't think of the word, not usable arousal, right?
Yeah.
It kind of fizzles, like it's kind of like a sparkler, like it's just kind of like a zippy, and it's just not usable. It's not focused. I see people like trying to add too much energy, like too much excitement. That doesn't work. So I kind of pictured it like, I was talking about like this kind of a visual, was kind of like a ball of energy, like a sun, but it's not fizzing. It's just, you're just kind of trying to capture this ball of energy that's just big enough to keep the dog focused and engaged and working. But if it's that's like what you're kind of trying to build, but you don't want it to get to the fizzy part of it. So you have to kind of like add that energy a little bit on the quieter side, which is an interesting visual that we were kind of playing around with, which I kind of pictured like a ball of like a sun.
Okay, so you want to know my visual?
Yes.
I got this. I think I got this from Mike Suttle, but other people say it too. And there's an artist, Lori Hatteen, and she said, I do not have ducks or a row. She says that I have, I think she says squirrels, and they're at a rave.
Yes.
Yes.
And so that brings up a lot of interesting points because when you think about it, what is drive? Right. And I think that's something we always have to make sure. And I feel like it's energy, especially hyperactivity, is mistaken for drive.
Right. Agreed.
And the dog that is always moving and energetic, doing all the things, is not necessarily showing drive.
Right.
And the dog that is low, but then you've brought it up to be really energetic, that's not drive either, like what you're saying.
No.
So if we imagine that we have all the brains run by a bunch of squirrels, and the squirrels are at a rave. I'm sorry, I'm just picturing the rave squirrels. It's just not the easiest place to live day after day. And it's really, really hard to choreograph a rave. I don't know if you've tried doing that.
Hard.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't tried doing it, but I've seen like the high school kids in a mosh pit going, and it's like, no, you can't compete with that. So if we keep going with that, I really want to have my squirrels country line dancing, or I want to have them river dancing, that's what I want. So that's the visual that I try to get.
Yep.
But it's all energy, but it's just a matter of focused energy.
Right.
It's a synchronized task.
And I think one of the things that people need to understand is that, because I think about it, I get Nico out of the car and I run Nico and he's fabulous. I remember times as a 8-week-old puppy, or actually, I don't think I got him until he was 13 weeks. So 13-week-old puppy, or even a 13-month-old puppy, that he'd get out of the car and I'm like, what Tasmanian devil are you?
Yes. Yep.
I can't handle the shenanigans today. You're just going to, we're going to do this instead of anything formal that I had set up because, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And every single part of that, and that comes from, somebody, I've been training dogs for a long time. So for people who all of a sudden are like, oh my gosh, I have this 4-year-old dog. I want to do detection work or sport of some nature. And that dog has been able to pursue all of the environmental reinforcers it would like.
It's a habit. Like all those habits, right?
It's hard.
Yeah.
And you know what? That dog's going to teach you a bunch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It'll teach you a bunch. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wine.
Yeah.
Lots of wine. Wine.
And I feel like that was something that Jo was so good about in talking about with us, and then also her podcast and her classes, is that idea of taking undirected or unfocused energy, because all of that's so exhausting. And she's so good at recognizing that in like just different tasks and different people, and just seeing how you can get that together for the handler and the dog. And it's all about breaking it into little pieces. And, and she says it's not fair to get frustrated or angry at a learner because they have high energy and low drive, and kind of the same thing. It's when you pump them up to get their energy up, but they have low drive, you have to see the individual learner. And they're doing the best they can, but their brains just can't connect the dots. And it's even more frustrating when we feel the task or whatever we're generalizing should be so obvious.
Yes.
But because we put them somewhere new, it's not obvious to them. And then we're frustrated. And I don't know. We just got to break the task into smaller pieces. We got to slice it down. And I think she's so great about breaking stuff down and making it manageable for the dog, but even more for the human, and kind of in that behavioral momentum. So taking the known behaviors, getting them moving on the right path, and giving you little things to celebrate. And that was something that I think is powerful about how she trains and kind of who she follows. Because she talked about like Leslie McDevitt with the pattern games. I think her like Super Bowls game has been really helpful for a lot of dogs.
Yes.
And I think it also brings me to where she talked about a lot of the reactivity training has been super helpful in what she's thought about and how she works with dogs. And it's interesting because I don't really see myself as working with reactive dogs, which is really funny because as a decoy and a helper, like that's kind of what we do all day long.
That's kind of the definition, right?
I never thought of it that way. Yeah. And when she said that, I was like, oh,
well, there's this whole connotation with reactive.
Yeah.
That it's aggression reactive or all of this other negative. No, Nico's hyper alert.
Yeah.
Reacting.
I mean, especially if you have dogs with any kind of drive, they are going to react to something. It's like they're going to react to prey. They're going to react to cues, right? It's all a level of reactivity if you think about it.
Agreed. Yeah, and I want fast, sharp, reactions to get what I need for my obedience and
that type of reactivity, right?
Yeah, I just didn't look at it that way.
Part and parcel. Yeah. I think we always think about that word as just as like horrible, horrible negative because that's just kind of the way it's portrayed. And it's really not very interesting.
And I do want to kind of give props to what gun dog trainers are doing in the fact that they are teaching the drop, the engagement, the recall, the heel, the sit, the emergency or the remote stop, dealing with arousal and frustration. And there are lots of ways to get there. Okay. Yeah. So there's lots of different techniques. So I'm just saying in general, though, those are the behaviors that the gun dog folks need. And so it's nice to think that I thought too, I was like, man, I would love to help Joe come up with another title for some of that stuff because it's not just for gun dogs. Like everybody needs that.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's what would that be called? Like we need that.
we teach it as an emergency stop, whether, the gun dog or people have the dogs going away from them, but they can also whistle stop the dog as it's coming back.
Yeah.
FEMA, we have, and a lot of search and rescue and law enforcement working dog stuff, we require an emergency stop or something because no roads, squirrels running out in traffic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
don't always know like what's,
mama cows on the other side of the pasture have noticed that we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ravines.
Yes. All sorts
ravines
of
are going to be a
things.
big one.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And for some of the dogs that lack self-preservation, you can see that there's a danger ahead and they're just full steam ahead, doing their area search or whatever it may be. And you've got to have something that they can just drop on command or stop or just whatever position, but just that they know, poof, I can do that.
Yeah.
And so if you're thinking, my dog can't do that, that'd be nice.
Yes.
I really loved her remote stop workshop that we did.
Yeah.
Or that I did when she was teaching it through Finzi. And I know she does different workshops through them too. And she's got another one at the end of May, but we may have this recorded after that or posted after, but we'll still post on our social media. But that's definitely one that I highly recommended because it was so simple. It was so simple. And she talks about it on her podcast too. So it's not like it's some secret, but it's just, and she likes using cheddar, like large cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I could give them my cheddar.
Nico would be out. He's like, nope, only string cheese. That's all.
Well, no, you can use that too. Just the idea of a large light colored thing they don't have to hunt for.
Right.
But it was so cool because I taught the concept to a local SAR class and we could do some of it indoors and we could do some of it outdoors. And they all caught on so fast. And so that was me translating what I learned from her kind of with my own spin. And it was just beautiful to see how fast they caught on to it. And what I also appreciated was, I think some people think that that's some advanced skill, but no, that's something you teach as puppies. It's not an advanced skill, especially when you kind of add that into your foundation pieces. So it's like all of the stuff that they naturally are doing is all the things that are kind of on my checklist for when you bring the new dog home.
Yes.
Oh, I was just looking. I found out it's a webinar that she's doing on Thursday, May 25th at 3 p.m. Pacific, achieving control at the point, flush, and fall. And this is basically saying gun dogs are bred to find game highly reinforcing, but there are specific ways we want dogs to behave around the reinforcer, which is game, in order to access it, right? We want a dog to hold a point, not to bust right in. We want a dog to sit or stand at the flush and not chase. And when game falls from the sky, we want the dog to sit. How do we achieve these behaviors without using aversives? Webinar looks at early training for puppies and beginner dogs using tugs, flirt poles, toys, and other equipment to help train foundation behaviors, which can be moved across to game at a later stage.
See, now I have to take another webinar.
Yeah, exactly. So useful for handlers of pointing dogs, retrievers.
This isn't useful. This is just for handler dogs. This is just for gun dogs, right? I wouldn't.
It doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like it.
No, I mean, for me, that's actually a lot of what she's teaching in that class is actually safety.
Yeah.
But I think because it's packaged as a gun dog thing that people miss, they miss that opportunity.
It's easy to just gloss over it. Yes. Like, oh, doesn't apply to me. I don't have a gun dog.
Right. But okay, do you have a dog that chases any sort of critters?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what she teaches.
That matters.
Like right there.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. Do you have a dog that doesn't stop when you need it to, or that can't like resist that temptation? That's exactly what she's teaching, even in that webinar. So I think if people can take the gun dog part off of it and just start to say all dog.
Yes.
Even having a Labrador, it didn't even really occur to me until I'm looking at this going, oh, well, that would be helpful. I'm not hunting with my Labrador, but that would be helpful,
Yeah. And that's the part that I really hope gets across from anything that we've kind of chatted about, is that maybe just take the gun dog part off of it and read the description and go, does that apply to me? Would I like that behavior? And I think you're probably going to find the answer to be yes.
Yeah.
Well, and will that either help solve some sort of my dog dragging me across the yard to go search type of problem? Because not like I have that problem or anything. I could throw rocks at that one because that's like me.
Well, you just said that the training buddy you had today, the dog was like bird.
Yeah.
And it's not a hunting dog.
No, it's not a hunting dog. And I wasn't even talking about my hunting dogs dragging me across the.
Yeah.
I mean, Nico, I'm now having to go back and fix a whole bunch of and constantly maintain.
Yeah.
Because he's been reinforced so many times for forging ahead that it's going to be a constant state of fixing.
Yeah.
And I really loved her whole concept on the hold and carrying things. Well, if you don't want the dog to let go of things, why don't we start training that from the beginning?
Yep.
And I have this little lovely puppy who loves to run. I mean, shoes are one of her favorite thing to run around the house carrying.
Yeah, she's a reorganizer. She reorganizes.
Yeah, reorganizes shoes a lot.
That's Prize. Prize is my shoe reorganizer. She just distributes them throughout the house.
Yeah, hide and seek for shoes all the time. But it's been really interesting to start and think about instead of chasing you down and snatching the thing out of your mouth, which is like the first urge thing that I want to do, I start praising her for being such a good girl for walking around with one of Joe's like big, huge work boots in his mouth.
That's a big boot for an 18-week-old.
I know. And I'm like, what a good girl. You're super fantastic. And then I have to be careful because I did teach Ember how to pick up and bring me bowls that way.
Oh, that could be helpful though. That could be helpful. Look at a Crystal.
Until she started picking him up and taking him in the yard. That wasn't so helpful.
Well, when Brava stole a Instant Pot liner as a puppy, I was impressed.
Yeah. Okay.
The big metal liner that goes in an Instant Pot. Yeah, I don't know. I think she was like 5-6 months old. She stole that, and I'm like, wow, Look at you.
I wonder how many people, when they, when I asked about what do you want to kind of just talk about how you would train it.
Yeah.
And she said, I'll talk about drop. And then she immediately started talking about retrieve.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I bet that probably melted a few people's brains, because it's like, wait a minute. I want them to let go of it, not carry it. And so I think I appreciate that she thinks kind of in opposites or concepts. And so what does dropping it entail? Well, it entails having something in your mouth.
Right.
So if I can teach you of what I want you to have in your mouth, and then that means I can also teach you to take things and let go of them out of your mouth. And I can do it in a way that is not going to have conflict for either of us.
Yep.
I really appreciated that. And so I think that was a great example for her to choose, because it is all about concept training.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not just about drop, but what else is it also about? The first step is they had to pick something up to start with.
Yep.
Correct.
Can I brag on Powder for a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
About a drop. Oh my goodness. You know that green ball that she loves?
Yes.
Yes.
Like she's like psycho about this green ball. And the green ball, what I do, and this isn't the brag, although it's pretty cool. To go outside, I practice stays with her, like active stays where I put her in a stay and I'm using all different kinds of words. I go out of sight. I have the slider door open. I'm like walking around the side of the building so she can't see me. I'm using all different words. And when I give her release cue, okay, she comes out like a bullet, right? And her primary goal of coming out as a bullet is to find her green ball. So she will hunt across the entire backyard looking for this green ball. And finally she gets her green ball, and she can't go to the bathroom until she has her green ball. So she can't poop or pee until she has her green ball, because it's very precious to her. It's a precious green ball. So she gets her green ball, she goes to the bathroom, and now I'm like, all right, come back inside. So she gets to the door and she's got the green ball in her mouth. I can just say out, and she drops it. She comes inside, and then I tell her where to go, because I tell her in, which is like I have a little like an enclosure area, and I say in, and she runs right there and she sits and she waits, and she does all that for a little tiny cookie, which I think is amazing. But the fact that, there she is with her precious green ball, and I could just say out, just
damn, training works.
It does.
No, isn't that amazing?
Expectations.
But the problem is it's just in my backyard, so we're gonna have to, take it on the road somehow.
And I think too, so when I learned drop, I really liked the way that Chirag Patel taught it, and so I didn't think about it quite the way that that Joe did. And with Chirag, and we can link the video of how to do it, but it kind of goes back to what Robin said about how when her puppy was carrying the thing, how she reinforced that. And I think some people go, wait a minute, if you reinforce it, you're going to get more of it, because that's what reinforcement does. Mm-hmm. But the idea is, so like what Chirag did was he would start with lowest, like super low value things. And then every time he would say drop, he's dropping a cookie at the same time. And so creating that association that drop is, I'm going to eat the amazing scatter food off the ground. And then he's able to bring his hand into it. So it's not like a possession thing. And then you don't have the dog that's like lunging at your hand. And that's something I've seen so much in the SAR world, is that maybe people are good about having the dog be able to drop, but then they can't get the toy back. And so then it's like snapping at their hands.
It drops, but it's still mine.
Yeah. And the person's like yanking their hand away really fast, and they're just trying to trick the dog, or they're like pushing them back. And it's like, really all they're doing is drive building.
Right.
So I'm super excited. I get to teach about that at the Muscatatuck.
Yes.
That's one of my, that's one of the big topics that, I get to do. I can't believe we all get to see each other so soon. We're all going to be on Muscatatuck.
I know, it's going to be exciting.
This is airing after Muscatatuck.
Oh,
yes.
Man.
Sorry, guys.
So sucks me.
That's so sad. It was great. It was great.
It was wonderful. You should have seen that session I did. No, I can't wait though. It's about play diagnostics, and that's a big part of it is having the conflict taken out of. You don't tease your dog. Don't try to like trick them. Train them. So if anything, I can't go through all the steps, I guess here, we won't have enough time, but watch Chirag Patel's video on drop. That's another one you can use. So I just liked having different ways of teaching something and thinking about it. So I love that Joe's thinking about it from the retrieve side, and I'm going to reward you for the retrieve. I'm going to reward you for the drop. And Shirag is saying, I'm just going to condition that drop means food's coming on the ground.
Right.
So both work great in tandem. The other thing that I loved that she did was when I said, but if people don't want their dog to retrieve source, why would I teach a retrieve? Like, doesn't that go against everything?
Yeah.
Because I hear that. I hear that from people all the time. Why would I teach that? I don't need that for what I'm doing. I don't need that for odor work.
Yeah. And then her response about, well, it's like the old time people doing the show dogs, and they didn't want their dogs to learn how to sit because
yes. Well, and I think it's a very valuable to think about, the hold a thing, out a thing. I think about how many times I'm screaming at my dog out as they're snarfing down whatever they found on the farm. And
there's a lot to snarf on your farm too.
There's a lot to snarf on my farm.
It's like so snarfable.
Tasty.
Well, and then Nancy shares that article about the dog eating the dead bird and getting avian flu. So now I'm like,
that's
even
terrifying.
More reason to make sure that our drops are solid.
Yes. I just am like, okay.
Yeah.
It was just this whole interesting thing along the lines of, am I ever going to use laser directionals? Not really. Probably not, actually.
It's kind of fun to try, though.
It's kind of fun. It's cool to try. But what it does is it actually allows me to teach a behavior or set of behaviors that keeps my training chops fresh.
Right.
And I'm really thinking about it for send away.
Oh, absolutely.
Because for Mondio, there's so much stuff all over the field. And then maybe you're doing like Littlewood in a similar place or a retrieve in a similar place. And so the dog has that in their mind.
Yeah.
So this can make so much clarity of drawing a line. Like, this is the line I want you to go.
Correct.
Like, I'm really,
we'll have to play with it this summer.
I just have in my head, like, oh my gosh, I was watching, I didn't even get through the whole thing. I used to love Jurassic Park. Like, I still love Jurassic Park, but the new one, I couldn't even watch the whole thing because it just got ridiculous. And they had this thing where they had like the velociraptor, like this, like, but they're not velociraptors anymore. They're whatever they are. And then they kind of tag them with a laser. And then like that dinosaur will hunt down whoever got tagged with a laser, like beyond like the ability to do CGI. Like it's just that's what's in my head when I'm thinking laser directionals. I'm like, whoa, like, yeah. Crazy.
No, we're not tagging people for
this is just
for dinosaurs.
Mondio, I'm like,
no,
decoy. There's a laser.
Now, Jurassic Park theme would be fun.
Yes. So, I think it was interesting because I bought the T-drill stuff, her class, which of course now by the time this airs, hopefully I've started it because I told myself I have to get through May before I can start anything because of my schedule.
Yeah.
And I was like, she lists the prerequisites, and I now have this mental chart in my head going on with all of my dogs of who needs what behavior in order to be able to go do this class with these dogs. And that's actually inspiring me to train because Queen of the Progression Plans is like, oh my gosh, I have a list I can now go to.
Progression plan sheriff.
I think it might be the type A list lover. Instead of a land lover, I think it's a list lover. I don't know.
But you are the sheriff of it.
Yeah.
That's,
I know.
You're
I
gonna
see a
be a
t-shirt
star.
coming.
Yes, the progression plan sheriff.
It's all right. I will own that one happily. I'm good. Yes.
Oh, it's too funny.
So one of the things that I learned from her podcast was about attachment theory and crate training. And it's interesting how it all kind of, it's a gun dog focus. But again, I go back to, is it really? It's about having working dogs, about sporting dogs. And when I went to visit Robin, I was trying to figure out if there was ways to help because haven't had an experience with a ton of puppies, just a couple. And
you come to my house and I'm like, here.
So what did you think about kind of changing how you were doing things? Did you think it made a difference?
I absolutely think it made a difference.
And do you want to kind of explain what you did?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you came up to visit me, well, and probably the first time you came up, I had the problem that I was also had both Bristol and Ducati with me,
and their siblings.
So we had some sibling stuff going on, but I was really conscious of that. So they were actually at the point where they were sleeping in separate crates. But one of the things after you kind of explained all of it to me, I realized that we have been told so much, just let the puppies cry. And unless you've gone through a process of, like, I just, bred a litter and have a whole entire litter, and all the puppies sleep together because of seminars and other things, couldn't do the individual crate training I wanted to do before I sent them home. That's a huge adjustment for that little 8-week-old bundle of fur.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the adjustment that I made is that my the thing that happened is after we had this whole conversation, you and I both started sleeping in the room with the puppies.
Yeah, I was hoping that I could come up and just kind of give you a little bit of reprieve. And so the nights that you needed some rest, I was like, can I just sleep in there in the puppy's room? And when I didn't want to sleep like on the floor. So, but just me putting my shoe right there next to both of their kennels, they were just right there. And they were like, oh, okay, you're right there. And I thought it made a big difference.
And even after you left, I have a day bed in that room, and I would go in and I would lay down in that day bed, especially they'd get me up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to go out and go potty. And then we'd go back to bed and I'd lay in there with them.
Yeah.
And that seemed to make a huge difference. And Sheba, the thing that I did with Sheba with that whole attachment thing, knowing that was going on in the background, she was in her crate, but I left a night light on and I happened to be on travel. So, because I had to go pick her up. So I was sleeping in the same room with her and she could see Dash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, we lay down, we go to sleep.
Yep.
Some of it I also think was her. There was literally no crying.
Yeah.
And
all 3 of my recent puppies, I learned to put a little small crate at bed level. Like I raised it to bed level, and that's where they would sleep. So they were literally like right next to me, because my when I had Joey as a puppy, that was horrendous. Like crate training him that was horrible. I mean, he tore out his little tiny front teeth as a puppy.
Oh,
it was horrible. And the crying, I didn't know what to do. This is a long time ago. I mean, 15 years ago, right? But with all the girls, I never had a problem with them because I literally put a small little crate right next to my bed, raised up so they could see me. And they learned, you go in there and you sleep.
And I think if nothing else, go learn about that.
Yeah. And that's just such a small thing, but
but it is also, it cuts down on your lack of sleeplessness with the puppy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the biggest thing for me is that it is less stressful on the dog.
Yeah. And especially in that phase of development and learning, I want them to have less stress. The stress that I want them to have, I want it to be thoughtful stress, like some stress inoculation.
Correct.
That I am in control of how much stress they're undergoing and that they can recover from
feelings. Not negative feelings in terms of like, especially like a crate. Like you don't want negative feelings around a crate anyway, because they're going to have to be crated their whole lives. It's just
depending on what country you're listening in.
True.
Some countries are like, what are you talking about? Like,
I know we're not allowed to crate. Yeah. So,
I mean, they have to have like special licenses and, the whole process.
But just even like in your car, like being able to crate quietly in the car. I mean, I can't even imagine, because, I have crates in my car. I just can't even imagine like just trying to drive anywhere with a dog that doesn't want to crate in the car. I'm just like, no, they learned that from puppy. Like that's it. We travel everywhere. And then they're like, okay, this is what we do.
We travel everywhere. And one of the things that's been really interesting for me that the dynamic in my car will change when, depending which dogs I have. But 90% of the time, I could pull in, pop up my hood or pop up my trunk, and everybody's quiet.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, I try not to play with other dogs directly in the back of my car because that's just horrible.
Yeah.
But I had somebody ask me the other day, they're like, how did you train that? And I'm like, I have spent time training quiet in the car.
Yeah.
And you will see me if something happens and I look at my dogs and my dogs are standing there with their eyes like totally blown out because they're like, oh my gosh, we want to do the thing. I'm like, good dogs. And they're quiet. They're like, good dogs. I'm over there and I'll throw treats in their car for being quiet.
Yeah. I do have to say my dogs are quiet at a trial, which is really kind of funny. I have not done the degree of work that you have on quiet in the car. So when I go training is chaos.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's pretty bad. You'll hear it in the next county.
Are you going to out me about something?
I am.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm almost to like laugh, cry, like that ugly face.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Right. Stacy.
What?
If I say Nico and those beady little eyes.
Because all he does is sit in the car and stare at you.
We have to tell people that story. That was the best.
Robin doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
the switch.
Oh, yeah, when you switched him. You guys are so mean.
Robin has these quiet, beautiful dogs, and I have Yukon who likes to bark. And so
is that distraction camp?
It was distraction camp. And so I distracted Robin.
They thought they were really cool.
Oh no, this is good. This is good. So I get Yukon, who is a Dutch Shepherd.
Yes. It was dark, by the way. It was also dark. We just have to say
it was like at night. It was like 9:30 at night. It's dark. Nico's
it's dark.
Pitch black.
Yeah. And so I worked it out that I was convincing her that I was going to put her dog away or I was going to get her dog out. That's what it was. I was going to get Nico and bring him out so she could do a demo with him. And then she just kept teaching. So here I am. I in fact put Nico in his kennel downstairs, and I put Yukon in Nico's kennel in Robin's car. And I'm thinking every time she walks by, I'm thinking Yukon's going to lose his mind and start barking because he's a barking dog. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to work, and I'm cry laughing.
And she's just talking. She's she could go up there and like even look at her dog. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, that was.
And I'm so ready for him to lose his mind, and he doesn't. He's being such a good dog. And so she goes over and and I've got Nancy there too, and she's trying to video it in this like really calm way. And so then the Robin's like, what are you videoing? She's like, oh, look at the stars and the moon. And she's pretending like she's like videoing the sky. She's like, oh, okay, weirdo.
Pretty much.
And so then she goes to the back of the crate to get Nico. And she's like, Nico, plots.
And I'm like, why is he not doing the thing?
And you're like, I see your beady little eyes in there. I have lost my mind. I am laughing so hard.
I'm like, this is not my dog.
That was actually
we all lose it.
I think at the seminar that was at the farm after distraction camp.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe T-Max seminar or something.
I think,
yeah.
Or something. Oh, was it that I was at though? So
it's when all the Canadians were there.
Oh yes. Yes.
That was
I love the Canadians.
Funniest.
Yes, we love them. I'm so excited they're coming back this year. But anyway,
I think we have video of this. I'm going to find.
I think you do.
That needs to happen.
I remember that. And he's, why won't he plot? He knows how to plot. You remember that?
I know.
He knows how to plot.
Although I will tell you that since then, that's kind of broken. So
but I bring that up because the way you've taught your dog and then the expectations of my dog, so it's totally different. Like I don't expect him to lay down before you open the door. Like he can stand there. And so it's one of those things where you pre-mac the things that if you want to do this, then you have to do this. And so it was just cute to think that he was being so quiet and so good for you. And you taught him to plots in a crate in one session. You did a lovely job training my dog with his beady little eyes.
With his beady little eyeballs. Yeah. Oh my God, the dork.
That really was the funniest practical joke. It really was.
That was a nice
spot the judges.
No one got hurt, it was just it's kind of a wholesome one.
It was really kind of funny. It was really good.
Speaking of wholesome, I'm still so entertained by Joe. And
I will admit something.
Yeah.
I had to look up what an HBR was.
Oh, she said what it was.
I know she did, but I was like, what do they look like?
Oh,
was it that
it's just the hunter pointer retrievers. It's just the whole
retriever.
Right. Well, but there's actually a breed.
Yeah, but she mentioned the one I did look it up.
Breed.
It looked like.
Yeah, she mentioned that breed, but HPR just stands for all your
hunting, pointing retriever.
Yeah, but there's like an HVR, like a Slovakian pointing
something.
Anyway, it looks kind of like a wired-haired wine.
Yeah, she said that's what she said. It just like it looks like a wiry-haired Wime.
It does.
We call it.
and it's gray with the blue eye. I mean, it's very, very striking. And I'm like,
I love how she calls it gray. She's like, the dog is gray, so it's gray.
Yeah. Okay. I get it.
Whereas we take all this energy about naming our dog. She's like, gray.
I mean, there's yellow over here.
I wanted to ask her how she came up with Moy. Because it seemed like the other ones were all kind of, because it was like gray and Moy and fire. I'm trying to think of who. Ren. I think that was her other one.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rush, I think was the other one.
Well, and it was interesting to have her, she's doing the pointing breeds and the retrieving breeds and all of this. So as an author and someone who has been through several different breeds of dogs to be able to write a book and progression plans and things, that's a lot. So I just kudos to her. Everybody should go check out her website. So, okay, we are going to do takeaways.
I go first because
otherwise
you guys are going to say my takeaway and then we have to think about it.
I go second.
Okay, so my takeaway is that all of this type of training is not just for gun dogs. And it was a little bit of I was like, oh, I wasn't even I'm like, gun dogs, whatever. I don't hunt with my labs. I have labs. I don't hunt with them. Then I'm like, oh, I need that. So for me, it just kind of, it kind of brought light to something that I thought I loved it. Anyway, that's it.
I'm going to go back to something that she said, which isn't a takeaway necessarily from what we talked about, but a takeaway from what she said. Yeah. And I love some of the visuals that we talked about, between the squirrels and what was yours, Stacy? I liked it. Now I can't think of it.
The ball of energy, like a sun.
Yeah, the ball of energy. Yeah. Yep. So I love, I might be a little visual, but the visual that I love that she created was that weaving of the people and the nature and the environment. Yeah. And ever since she said that, I've just kind of been imagining that kind of warp and weft because I do enjoy fibers. But I really do enjoy of seeing how when one overlaps the other and it just has that flow that you feel when you're on the right track and you're all on the same page because you've sliced it into the right pieces.
Yep.
And so for our creative minds out there, I can imagine quilting, I can imagine fibers, and just seeing how it all comes together so seamlessly because it's all coming through you. Everything comes through you. Yeah. And so that's our bitey sport people. That's our scent work people. It all has to come through us. We have to be the ones that control the game. And I want her to rename some of her stuff from drills to games, though, because I think people would like it more. That's just my little suggestion for Joe, if you're listening. It's T game, right? It's T. No.
That's a bigger fish to fry than just
she
Joe.
Can do it, though. She can do it.
She's
got it.
So.
She could, because she's making a whole book on drills. Just rename them games.
There you go. One of my many big takeaways, besides still being a total fangirl and can't wait for her next book, was her talking about the process that she did with the puppies, which kind of goes back to Crystal, to what you were talking about, the weaving, I do this with Flash. My puppies. Actually, I didn't do it with some of the other puppies, but with Flash, I'll take her out for walks, but I've got a thing of pop treats with me. And while she's out there, we're working on recalls. We're working on sits. We're working on, drop whatever's in your mouth, sort of. Those sorts of things. And it's just the reminder that you might think you're out for just a walk with your dog, but you can still do some quality training while you're doing that. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a formal structure, but you can still incorporate some things in and get some reinforcement in where you really want them. So,
yep.
She has some excellent podcast episodes on that.
She does.
That really got me thinking. And we already have such limited time in our day. Mm-hmm. She's so good at bringing it into it. Sorry, I added to your takeaway.
It's okay. We'll include all of the links that we talked about in the show notes. Thanks everybody for listening. We really, really hope you're getting some tidbits of information out of the podcast, and we'll talk to you soon. Go train.
Canine Detection Collaborative. We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.